I have a package of books I want to review for you that's in a really, really discounted price at Logos. I always look each month at the deals. I try to find some of the better deals and put those in front of you. Sometimes I review those deals, ask Logos for a copy, and they give me a copy in exchange for a review. That's exactly what this is. And you all know I shoot straight. I'm not going to say something's good if it's not good. So let's just dive right into this package. This is the Anchor Bible Reference Library. This is something that came on my radar in 1992. Now, although almost every book in here is a lot newer than 1992, that was when I first ran into the Anchor Bible idea. Some of the old commentaries, Anchor Bible Dictionary, such a valuable resource. I just loved reading through the Anchor Bible Dictionary, just totally nerded out on that, but it got me familiar with Anchor Bible. I began purchasing many of the commentaries. I began going to places like ABE Books and Amazon and finding the Anchor Bible Reference Library volumes in hardback and buying the cheapest ones I could find, because I knew every time I bought one of those volumes, that volume was going to be outstanding. And if you're a subscriber, I think you get another 5% off of that. If you own some of the resources in this, you already get another discount for that. So there are many scholars that this series got me in tune with. Jacob Neusner, Raymond Brown, Luke Timothy Johnson, Charlesworth with his pseudepigraphal 2-volume set. It's just amazing work. Noel Freedman, who edited Anchor Bible Dictionary, has the 9 Commandments in the series. So I'm going to just pull this up. I'm going to walk through some of the volumes in this series, talk about some of the pros of this series and some of the volumes that I absolutely love. There's 47 volumes. Alexander to Constantine, that's volume 3 in the Archaeology of the Land of the Bible. There are 3 volumes of that in here. You can see right here, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3 from 10,000 BC to Constantine. These are just full of images. They're just full of pictures that just bring archaeology to life when you open this thing up. The black and white pictures, but it really is an incredible thing with a lot of great annotations in here that help bring the Old Testament and the archaeology of the Old Testament to life. Every chapter is going to have some maps and some aerial photographs and pictures of archaeological sites and digs to illustrate what they're talking about. And 3 volumes of that. These are massive. These are big volumes, right? You're talking about 600 pages per volume, 1,800 pages or so for all of this. So the archaeology in the land of the Bible, I found that invaluable, like in sermon prep or class prep, when you're looking at things, you're trying to get a better understanding of the historical background, the archaeological evidence for things. It was just a great volume. Luke Timothy Johnson, Among the Gentiles. He's a Catholic scholar. He and Raymond Brown, both Catholic scholars. Also, I came to just a greater appreciation for Catholic scholasticism scholars through this series over the years. But Among the Gentiles, the Greco-Roman Religion and Christianity is a fantastic book where Johnson goes into the religious background of the New Testament and what's going on in New Testament Christianity. It's a really solid book. The Birth of the Messiah with Raymond Brown, also The Death of the Messiah, 2 volumes. So that's 3 volumes that I would often pull those out at Christmas and Easter, talking about the birth of Jesus. He has just a thorough accounting of the birth of Jesus and all the historical stuff going around the birth of Jesus. The Death of the Messiah, 2 massive volumes, like 800 pages each, where he goes into the trials of Jesus, the legality of things, like customs and cultures at the time. Like, it's an amazing work. Like, every time I look at it and read it, I just glean something new out of that. We also have the formation of the Jewish canon, something that I found very fascinating. And he goes into not only the formation of the canon, but a lot of the history and the culture around the formation of the Old Testament canon. He has the early lists of the canonical lists. He has works that didn't make the list. He talks about the Dead Sea Scrolls in Old Testament canon, and he talks even a little bit about Old Testament canon in the New Testament itself. History and Prophecy is really a good book. It's a huge book, as most of these are. And he gets into the Deuteronomistic history of the prophets, if that's something of interest to you. Introduction to Rabbinic Literature by Neusner. He's a Jewish scholar, Old Testament scholar. And, if you're looking into E.P. Sanders, if you're looking into the new perspective on Paul, this is a must-read on everything around that. Marginal Jew, all 5 volumes by Meyer. This is a critical look at the historical Jesus in his day, and also some application into what does this mean for us today. Matthew within Sectarian Judaism. That's a book that gets into the historical backgrounds of the Gospel of Matthew and the sects of Judaism and how they intersect with the ministry of Jesus. in the Gospels. Is really the Gospel of Matthew, really good book. 9 Commandments by David Noel Freedman. This is one I had on my shelf for quite some time. He gets into a really interesting thing where he lays out that the books from like Judges to Kings each walk one by one through each of the commandments and how Israel violated each of the commandments, like book by book, one commandment at a time, until the actual final fall of Jerusalem. Like, that's fascinating. I didn't really know until I looked at this book that Freedman was like a master of puzzles and biblical puzzles, and not numerology, but like looking at how numbers in scripture line up and how word counts and all that. Like, he's just apparently was a master at that. There's the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha by Charlesworth. Those are really, really worth looking at. The Pentateuch is a very thorough book by Blenkinsop. The Temple and Early Christianity, that's one that I haven't read, but I'm fascinated by, and that's one reason I wanted this set. And what you see is how does the temple show up in the Gospels? How does it show up in Acts? How does it show up in Hebrews? How does it show up in Revelation? I've been studying a lot of like early church meeting places because we're doing home church, and so that really, really intrigues me. I was reading Beale on a recent flight, on one of the Temple book and that New Studies in Biblical Theology series. There's also a history of the synoptic problem. And this comes at it from what he says is a unique perspective, examining like 4 things that he says nobody else has examined. When he says 4 things, this is like 1999. And that gives you some context for some of these books that these were written. There's just a couple of them written around Anchor Bible Dictionary, like 92-ish. But then most of them, I believe, just having kind of looked at some of the, front page work in these books, 2000, 2009, 2012, I think even 2019. So these are some newer works within New Testament and Old Testament scholarship that I think you'll find very, very beneficial. Now, once again, it's normally $2,025. It's marked down to $972. That's 47 volumes, which is like $20 a volume rather than like $60 a volume. And I don't think this set really goes on sale very often. And that's one thing, a little tip for you Logos users. The publisher's sale each month is one of the best sales that you can look at, because they deal with a lot of times like large commentary collections, series and sets on various topics, whether it's Crossway's New Testament theology set or whatever. You can get some amazing deals, basically about half off every month, usually that 40-50% off mark. So I encourage you to check those as the months roll in. And if you haven't gone into our Facebook group, we're about 5,110 people in our Logos Deals Facebook group. And so I'm going to put a link to that in the description. And I'm also putting a Linktree link in the description, because I keep a Linktree updated with all current deals, links to all current deals at Logos. And I also have an email list for this. So if you want to join the email list and probably 3 or 4 times a month get an email with some of the coupon codes, newest sales, I just dig through all the sales and I pull out the very best stuff, show you what's free, give you links to all of it in a very easy format. And that list is growing. We're up to a couple hundred people in that list. Started it recently. So I invite you to that so that you don't miss out on anything, because every month, on the first of the month, around 11 o'clock Central, new deals crop up, and then we start posting those in the Facebook group, and then that day I email those out to the email list, and then often around the 15th of the month there's new deals that pop up, and then there are new things that pop up from time to time. So check out this set. I'm putting a link in the description. It is an affiliate link that helps me out financially, and so it's no extra cost to you, but appreciate you watching this far. And I hope you just see the value in this set, because there's even so much more I haven't really uncovered in this. But what I have uncovered, I just have been profoundly blessed by. And so that's why I want to share it with you. And y'all take care. Thanks for being here.